Good afternoon and welcome to the Fireside Chat at ESRI India User Conference 2021. I have with me this afternoon a stalwart of the Indian geospatial fraternity, Dr. Vishnu Chandra, Deputy Director General NIC. An alumnus of IIT Roorkee, Dr. Chandra has been associated with geospatial technologies for close to 30 years and has been responsible for several mission-critical projects at NIC. In these 3 decades, he has witnessed evolution of GIS usage in government projects in India and has played an evangelistic role in promoting this technology in central and state government departments. His work has won NIC global recognition, including Special Achievement in GIS Award from ESRI, Asia Pacific Geospatial Award at Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Bharat Net GIS Award from DOT, and FICCI National Award. Truly impressive performance. Vishnu, thank you very much for sparing your valuable time and joining us this afternoon. NIC has been an early adopter of GIS and has implemented several successful projects. In the interest of time, we will not be able to discuss all of them. However, one project that comes to my mind is the Planning Commission sponsored multi-layered planning system implemented by NIC, I think about 15 years ago. About a decade later, we conceptualized and built a new avatar of this system, Bharat Maps. In the intervening period of about 10 years between the two projects, as you know, technology has progressed significantly with a paradigm shift in GIS deployment, like integration of AI, machine learning, deep learning with GIS, big data analytics, cloud, mobile mapping, geospatial infrastructure, to name a few. How did you leverage these advancements in Bharat Maps?
Thank you, Mr. Mathur. It is a privilege for me to be in ESRI India User Conference. And as you have said, the Bharat Maps, the current version of Bharat Maps has evolved over the period of time. We have moved from data creation stage to service delivery. So that is a very important part. And extending not only visualization services and integrating spatial data services within the workflows of e-governance projects. We are now further extending, moving to large scale mapping. We already have a base map up to 10,000 scale. Then we are extending services in terms of navigational services and also extending what you call OGC compliant services as leveraging or providing support for developer community so that they can customize their own applications.
Very important.
So that is the major challenge which we are able to achieve. And to name of the few ways, we have covered what you call GIS or financial inclusion, where all financial points and all stakeholders seamlessly has been integrated to reach the unreached, to give banking services to last mile of the country. There are projects like what you call now where integrated spatial planning in panchayats are extended, decentralized planning. There are projects where even we are going for much large scale data using drone and its integration in planning process. In planning itself, where we are trying to integrate drone survey data and under Swamitva scheme with land records, georeferencing existing land records using course data and bringing it on a GIS platform. In addition to that, what you call further in terms of analytics, in terms of use of AI in certain applications, we are further taking up the advancement in terms of spatial intelligence in the system.
Making very effective use of all the recent developments and advancements.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I should also mention that the multi-layered planning system developed by NIC back in about around 2004, 2005 won the prestigious Making a Difference Award at the ESRI International User Conference. This award is given to very few organizations globally, not more than 1 or maximum 2 a year. And NIC was chosen not just for the technology deployment, but also how it was serving different levels of society, both urban and rural India. A very remarkable achievement. I have another question for you, Vishnu. You have been supporting government projects in various areas. You have been supporting government departments in implementing GIS for a long time. This requires engagement with senior bureaucrats to understand their needs and determine how GIS can help in solving various problems that they are dealing with. In your view, over the past 2 to 3 decades, how have the user expectations from GIS changed? Because the awareness has certainly improved. People are more aware of this technology. But what is your own observation in terms of what's the awareness of government officers as far as the technology is concerned? You may like to share your perspectives with us.
Definitely, user awareness and expectations has gone very high now. And user demands in almost every project location-based analytics, advanced dashboards, and applications in those areas which were not imagined in past, and those areas where it is more of a MIS kind of application. Now there is a demand for put a spatial system there, and some of the demand has raised during this recent COVID pandemic.
Of course.
Like the issues like migration of labor. In fact, few years back, this was not thought.
Sure.
How can we map how migration of labor is happening? How you can integrate with migration the projects like One Nation, One Ration Card.
Yeah, they're integrated.
So if people
They're all
move,
linked.
so if people move, so the demand is now how to horizontally integrate various verticals through API-based services at top of Geo platform. So that awareness, that thought process, where say there are verticals, maybe in urban space or rural space. Earlier they never used to talk to each other, but now collaboration, and spatially and geographically how they can talk to each other, so that at the grassroots level one can know what are the benefits with respect to that location under different verticals of governance are reaching there.
So
And what is the integrated impact of it?
Look at the same situation through different prisms. Yeah, and see how they are interlinked.
Yes, how it.
I think the key observation is that today government officers, the senior bureaucrats, are aware of the importance of location
Yes.
as a key information parameter in all the projects they take up. And they are in a position to articulate fairly clearly what they want, which certainly makes the job of people like you less difficult. It's still not easy, but less difficult.
That's difficult. And see, in that process, definitely there is a increased demand in terms of standardization and processes.
Of course, very important. Only then collaboration.
Then collaboration will happen.
True. You've seen major advancements in GIS technology over the last 2.5 to 3 decades. Back in early 90s, PC Arcinfo was one of the key products that our users were deploying. And over a period of time, they moved from PC-based GIS to client server, and now web and cloud, truly deploying a societal GIS serving large number of citizens and other departments and so on. How has NIC adopted some of the recent developments, specifically artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data analytics, mobile mapping, and cloud platform? Can you share a couple of examples?
See, this is what now we are entering into the era where convergence of GIS and AI, what you call Geo AI, Geo IoT, all these things are now coming into reality. And some of the projects where geotagging is done, geotagging of toilets, geotagging of various assets, there was a requirement to know whether the geotagged image, its quality and accuracy, as well as its locational accuracy.
Yeah.
So there is a certain parameters, certain training inputs to train the image, to see the physical accuracy of that. Those parameters, those training sets were decided. On 5, 6 types of image of same object was taken from different angle. That entire database of geotagged image has been trained through AI algorithms and deep learning algorithms.
Various frameworks are
The frameworks are there. And through locational accuracy has been ensured through web APIs from Bharat Maps, integrated with AI ML tools to identify and release the benefits to right beneficiary as a part of workflow. So this Swachh Bharat Mission Urban is one of the experience where entire workflow through a mobile app, end to end, with AI and deep learning algorithm and API from Bharat Maps are being put together.
Very, very interesting because it's really a convergence of several technologies, whether mobile mapping or location enablement of all the data that comes, integration of AI, ML, and all the full convergence.
Other example, which is now we are working on, relates to the project called Parivesh, which deals with clearances of environment, forest, wildlife, coastal zone, and so on. There, we are giving to get the quality data of proponents. We are creating a facility, Know Your Area. We are cataloging the decision rules to allow, disallow, based on EIA notifications. There, when they upload their environmental plan or forest plan, their AI ML algorithm even to what you call check the quality of text, documents, verification. Those things we are trying to integrate, along with what you call location of where they want to make some certain land use change or certain industry they want to set up. Those geospatial aspect of this. So this is also we are trying to engineer as a part of complete end-to-end workflow.
And automating
the whole process, where AI ML algorithm along with GIS and locational intelligence, which will document the layers related to eco-sensitive zones, protected areas, because decision routes are going to be applied over there. So this end-to-end we are trying to do there. So this is what we are trying to bring. And some of the application, even simple application like housing, government housing allotment. There also the layout maps of say Delhi, we are integrating with say public interface through chat box about the location and their house building other things. So
oh wow, that is very, very impressive because good use of all the different components of the contemporary technology. Very, very interesting. Moving on from technology to deployment with a focus on the users, adoption of technology by states is very essential because most of the major projects of the government, whether it's National Hydrology Project, land records, or smart cities, natural resources conservation and management, are all finally implemented at the state level. Therefore, to derive maximum benefit, we must enable the states. My own experience has been that while in some states they've done some really good work, in many states the usage is very fragmented. As a result, there's a lot of duplication in terms of data creation, which leads to both cost escalation and time delays. Also, there's gap in adoption of some of the best practices developed by other users. And last but not the least, skill development. As a result, so much extra effort is made by government departments in redoing what someone else has already done in some other state. What are your recommendations to the states to extend usage to all the departments who can benefit from GIS?
This is very important question. Means a state GIS capacity and skill and infrastructure development is very important, not only for districts within states itself, as well as central level things. Because ultimately, if geo information is captured from root, quality can be maintained from there. So that is very important. And through our effort, one is what we have enabled the services, map services, which are from BharatMap Cloud. And those map services can be consumed by our developers at a state level as well as district level. During pandemic time, some of the remote districts like Nandur Gram in Maharashtra, they have used even for COVID management system, services are going from NIC GIS Cloud. So that part we have done. We are also trying to make state systems in terms of data capture through web-based editing systems, attribution part of it, integrating geospatial base map service within the websites of districts, and some kind of bi-directional flow of geospatial intelligence from district to state and national level. So those processes, we are working on it, and it is very important. Say state GIS infrastructure, I will give an example of it. Like today's challenge is you have a very strong base map available up to 10,000 scale in BharatMap also, other sources also. When a governance project starts, say there is a project for say water bodies, and user goes for mobile-based location capture of water bodies, they don't use water body as a layer available on the base map for attribution, for unique codification, for its naming. So the process of mobile-based location capture and spatial base map, they are not. So these kind of practices has to be brought in workflows of system, so that spatial intelligence get added at top of the base map. Currently, we try to do retrofitting of two aspects. Okay, this data is there, this data is there. Then you go to retrofitting through evolving certain standards. So rather than doing that, user needs to be trained and skilled. Okay, you use this base and define standards to assign unique IDs to water bodies. You use same unique IDs in your minor irrigation census. And then combine them. Then which system will evolve.
Yeah. And of course, building at the state level a geospatial
infrastructure is very, very critical.
Yeah.
Very, very critical.
Yeah. They'll disseminate all the services, all the content services, best practices, and among other things. Very good. Finally, before we wrap up, let's talk about the policy. At the end of the day, policy provides the legal framework to do things that we want to do and technology is capable of doing. You know, a few months ago, DSA released guidelines for the new geospatial data and mapping policy. The policy, as you agree, is path-breaking and should give a boost to GIS adoption in the country. It's expected that the economic value of the geospatial technologies will grow from the current level of rupees 30,000 crores to about 1 lakh crores by 2030. What, in your opinion, could be the role of geospatial infrastructure like BharatMaps in enhancing adoption of geospatial technologies by the government users?
Definitely, the new geospatial policy is quite forward-looking and progressive. And ultimately, since we are, as I said, we are moving from data development stage to service-oriented systems. We are also moving from even data creation part or updation part will also happen as a part of workflows and process. We are also on image service side, we are moving towards almost real-time image-based services. We are also moving for integration of lot of real-time data coming from IoT sensors. So whole policy framework needs to be very dynamic, not static. So things will.
I think
See,
that's
when we say you from 30,000 crore to 1 lakh crore, so this path should be mapped with how services are going to increase because of new emerging technologies, impact of that. So this is very important. So currently at the policy level, whatever the discussions are happening, there is a thought to organize different entities who are at government level, at central level, or state level, at international level, those involved in data creation, as well as consumption of data services, registration of that, and then providing a portal or a framework where they can access details of data offerings from, say, Survey of India, ISRO, NIC, and also get register. Register is not for getting any permission, because policy today allows to do the survey and mapping anywhere in India within certain threshold value. So it is not for permission. It is for registration. For this purpose, you are going to work, and you are going to comply with terms of use as specified in policy guidelines. Once you are that registration done, you will get a registration number with barcode which you can use to access government services. But in this policy framework, definitely there is a need for public-public partnership strengthening, as well as public-private partnership at the same time, and then define the entire framework. So this is what the process is ongoing.
Okay, I guess to really extract value out of the policy, as you also mentioned, we need a partnership between the industry and the government. Government has to play its role, and industry also has to play its role. And from where I'm coming, you would agree that the usage of GIS in our country is much below the potential. A lot can happen, and it's expected that the new policy will act as a catalyst to accelerate the usage across different domains. I think what we also have to understand is what are some of the reasons why the usage hasn't been as much as it could have been. Policy is only one aspect, but there could be many other reasons. For instance, data, of course, is the key requirement for any GIS project. And we often find that organizations are recreating data which is already available with some other agency. So while the policy recommends that there could be sharing of data, collaboration, my view, it should be mandated so that there's only a single source of truth for all data sets. Another challenge that often users face is application development and deployment. Here again, if there's collaboration between different states in the same departments, different states, we can share the best practices, we can share the work already done so that we save time and cost. Third, and this is where industry has to play a major role, is building ready-to-use application templates. Because the basic processes of the work are already defined and they're documented. So it's easy to templatize them. And then with a bit of configuring the template, one can get the application up and running very quickly, which will again save deployment time.
Deployment time and turnaround time.
Yeah.
It will improve.
Skill development is yet another aspect, and I'm really concerned about the lack of availability of the skills required in the upper end of the skill pyramid. The project managers, the program managers, solution architects, and people like that. I think we need to invest more in building those skills and those competencies. Also, in each ministry, create a GIS cell headed by a geographic information officer who will steer the whole deployment of geospatial technologies in that ministry, both at the central and state government level. And last but not the least, a geospatial infrastructure to host content and services which can be consumed by anyone from anywhere, anytime.
In fact, what you have said is very much needed for what you call government-private partnership or partnership among all stakeholders. In fact, you have already put up the points how industry can support the government. But definitely industry has a role, great role in extending services for, maybe we can call it an Indian geospatial stack, even in standardization. And of course, in bringing policy also with the functional needs of geospatial in the country. You can further elaborate this point.
No, I think that's all the important point. Thank you, Vishnu. Really appreciate you spending the time.
Thank you.
I'm sure our users,
It's a pleasure.
Our users will benefit from your vast experience and how you deployed some of the advanced technologies in your project. Thank you very much.